All right, in less than a week now, California will hold a recall election for its governor for only the second time in the state's history, thanks to the 1.7 plus million Californians who signed the petition to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, I know it pains the media to even acknowledge this, but, kudos to the LA Times for acknowledging the role that the churches have played in this. In fact, this is the headline from the Los Angeles Times says that the churches are at the center of the recall election. Now, what is driving this was the overreach of Governor Newsom during the COVID restrictions, shutting down churches, shutting down everything in the state, but in particular the churches. In fact, it's cost the state now quite a bit of money. Just last week, John MacArthur's Grace Community Church won a $800,000 settlement with California and Los Angeles County over their religious liberty case, and there are several others in the state of California. With me now to talk about what's been happening on the ground and in the pews in California is Pastor Jack Hibbs, Senior Pastor, Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills in Southern California. Pastor Jack, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Tony, it's great to be with you.
So the churches are at the center of the recall. Not only were they central to getting the recall onto the ballot with the almost 2 million signatures, but Larry Elder, who is one of the major challengers to Gavin Newsom, has been making his rounds in the churches.
Well, Tony, that's exactly correct. In fact, just as that article, I wanted to make sure I showed the audience, it's right here. This Los Angeles Times article not only mentions that clearly, that Larry Elder, among others, are making their way in churches. Tony, these candidates are making their way into the churches, not by beating down the door, but the churches have opened up their doors. The churches have swung open wide the doors to invite these candidates in that hold pro-life value. And so the values of the Judeo-Christian worldview. And so we're seeing something in California, Tony, that we have never seen before. Now, you and I know each other, and we've been standing in this water for a long time. But to see hundreds and hundreds of churches up and down the state, doors open, Larry Elder being invited to speak with the pastor openly on a Sunday morning service, this has been tremendous. And I got to tell you, Tony, I called last night this reporter from the LA Times and thanked her for such an accurate story. She did cover it correctly. The churches are no longer taking this tyranny. California is on its way back. I think you might be shocked after September 14th what happens here, because if Larry Elder becomes governor, then everything changes. Because, Tony, if Dianne Feinstein in her 89th year, if she winds up in some way, shape, or form becoming incapacitated, then Larry Elder, the governor, will appoint the senator that changes the shift of balance in Washington, D.C. And all of a sudden, it takes California from the ash heap and it puts it front and center stage on what could be a turnaround in American politics.
Well, that is huge, but can I say that I think there's something even bigger in this, that the fact that California, that has been leading the nation in every left-wing idea, could see the churches arise and engage to such a level that it changes the course of the California government, which by the size of the state is a leader in this country. That would breathe life into so many other states, and in particular into churches and to pastors taking a stand because they're taking responsibility for their state and their communities.
Tony, I think California suffers in the general media across the nation. We suffer from not getting much coverage except over the nuttiness. What the media doesn't cover are the great things that have been happening in California for years, and you're watching it happen now. But a lot of people forget that in 2020, November election 2020, California, up and down the ballot in the state of California, turned incredibly red. In fact, we flipped 4 Democrat stronghold congressional seats to pro-life, born-again, believing Congress women and men who we sent to Washington. Nobody talked about that. Nobody talked about the fact that mayors and offices in California in November went red. The news never covered it.
Can we also talk about how that happened where churches used the tactics that the state made legal, what is known as ballot harvesting? The church took it and made it ballot collecting, and
Yeah.
that in part contributed to these turns?
Tony, I'm laughing because well, we were the first church to adopt a Democrat strategy. They legalized exactly what you just said, ballot harvesting. We didn't like the name of it, so we changed it to ballot collection. And frankly, Tony, in the 25th district up north of LA and in 2020, we actually perfected their tactics. We did it openly, legally, based on California law, and we beat them in their own game. We're continuing to do that now. You can bring your ballots here to our church and make sure that they are counted, because what we do is we have them taken to the 4 different counties that surround this church, and they are hand delivered under video with guards. They are delivered to the voter registrar's office. So we're actually doing ballot collection and ballot integrity like they did not expect to have happened, and it's worked.
Pastor Jack,
tremendously.
we only got about 30 seconds left, but I want to bring this back to what is at the heart of this. After the COVID and all the restrictions, Pentecost Sunday 2020, you opened back up. You've been meeting ever since. How many people have you baptized as a result of opening your doors and people coming in to hear the gospel in the last year and a half?
Yeah, since May 31st, we just recently had yet again a baptism, and we're just over 3,000 people having been baptized when you put the last 3 baptisms together.
It's the change of the heart with the gospel that leads to the change of the actions that can transform a community.
That's exactly correct, Tony.
Well, thank you for preaching the gospel, and thank you for standing for the truth in the public square. Jack, always great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Tony. I'll see you later.